All right. If you follow cybersecurity news, President Trump just signed two amendments to two executive orders, Executive Order 13694 and 14144, with the bulk of the amendments focused on Executive Order 14144. I have 6 items, 6 key facts that I want to talk to you about today. So let's get started. The core objective of these amendments is to improve our nation's cybersecurity posture overall. So we are more resilient against nation states attacks as it comes with cybersecurity. The first key item that was amended, it was an update to the policy and threat landscape clarification, if you will. We had a statement that was more generic in nature in terms of what nations are we concerned with, foreign nations. And this time around, the executive order, the amendment was very specific in calling names, such as the People's Republic of China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, and other nations. So we got very specific on who we are watching. Now, the positive of that is, well, clarity. Now we know who we should focus on. Now we know who are the threats against our nation. The areas that we should consider, perhaps, if any, of drawback of that would be that our in geopolitical influences and our relationship got a little spicy there. But then again, what's the difference now and then, right? There is already some tensions regardless. Now we're naming who we are concerned with. So I think it's a positive change, but tell me otherwise if you think it's different. In enhancing the cybersecurity on software development and patching. So enhancing the secure software development and patching is the second key item that these amendments reinforce. So the Secretary of Commerce, through the director of NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, will be mandated to make some updates. So as August 1st of 2025, the NIST should establish a consortium with the industry and work towards creating new guidance for a secure development and secure operations and practices by updating their NIST special publication 800-218, which is the Secure Software Development Framework, or SSDF. Also this year, September 2nd, 2025, NIST 853, which is the control library used to protect these systems, including the Secure Software Development Framework, to be updated. And that update should address, actually must address, the reliable deployment of patches and updates, which is much needed, from a more generic to a more specific addressing of those issues. Now, also on December 1st of this year, so there's a lot of coming up in this year, is that a preliminary secure software development framework should be available by the end of this year. Now, the positive is quite obvious. This is a critical step to strengthening our software supply chain, ensuring that integrity of application throughout that life cycle and for our nation. The drawback, though, is the fact that these are fast changes that are complex in nature and requires tremendous coordination with the industry. So the timeline is tough in there. These changes need to be highly coordinated across everyone. So the third item here is the preparation for post-quantum cryptography, or PQC. And that transition is tricky and it's challenging. Now, the good thing about this change is that acknowledge that quantum computing of sufficient size, as large, powerful computers, will be capable of breaking our today's public key cryptography. So we as a nation are acknowledging that in this executive order, and in particular, this amendment. What will change here by December 1st of this year? The Secretary of Homeland Security, through the CISA, must release a regular updated list of products and categories that support the PQC, the post-quantum cryptography. The government can use, us as private industry can use that particular list. And also by December 1st of this year, the Director of National Security and the Director of OMB must issue requirements for agencies to support the Transport Layer Security, or TLS, protocol version 1.3, or whatever is the next substitute of that, by January 2nd, 2030. And that is to support and the reliability of these services that use this TLS protocol against the post-quantum computer cryptography threat that we might have. Now, the positive of this change is quite obvious. You're going to strengthen the capability of our encryption mechanism. Now, and that is a proactive change against the quantum challenge that we will have. Now, the considerations and the pause we have here, perhaps, is that the transition to PQC is complex, resource intensive to undertake this task, and requires significant investment, research and development, and deploying across all sectors. So that is challenging. The deadlines to come up with these ideas are short as well. The fourth key factor of these amendments is promoting security with artificial intelligence. Now, recognize that AI potential to transform cyber defense by rapidly identifying vulnerabilities and increasing threat detection and so forth is key for our nation's security. By November 1st of 2025, this year, various secretaries, Commerce through NIST and the Energy and Homeland Security through the Undersecretary of Science and Technology, and the Director of NSF must ensure that existing cyber defense research data sets that are accessible to academic research community. They're accessible to the academic research community. That is key to continue developing AI in a form that is more open, because currently big corporations are leading the development of AI by using the university as a research community, specifically providing the data set, will open tremendous amount of doors for everyone and for every size of organization. Also, by November 1st this year, the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Homeland Security and the Director of National Intelligence must incorporate management of AI software vulnerabilities and compromises as part of their processes. So that is also a key factor of these amendments. Now, the positive impact of this is, of course, this forward-looking initiative, harness the AI power that we know is there to enhance our cyber defenses and proactively address any security a risk inherited by AI, this emerging technology. The areas that you should pause and have some consideration, perhaps think about, is the balancing that must exist of accessibility of data, confidentiality data, and the national security is a tricky dance. So that is also something to consider as we advance. Not only advance, we are fast advancing forward regarding this. The fifth key factor here is aligning policy to practice and modernizing the federal systems. So agencies are directed to align investment priorities to improve networking architecture, visibility, and controls. So within 3 years of the order's date, the Director of OMB must update the guidance, specifically the Circular A130, to address how they're going to audit and maintain compliance with these emerging technologies. Also, within 1 year, NIST, CISA, and OMB must establish a pilot program for rules of code. So, rule as a code is an excellent approach as we work with machine-readable versions of cybersecurity policy and guidance. Providing that will enhance and automate and standardize and ensure compliance to the security that you have on your organizational and federal systems by implementing this as a readable, machine learning readable information. Also, within 1 year, the agency members of the FAR Council must update their FAR guidance and requirements towards vendors of consumer Internet of Things products. So by January 4th, 2027, is expected these vendors of these products to start using the United States cyber trust mark labeling. So the impact, the positive is that OMB guidance will drive modernization of our federal IT infrastructure, aiming to greater resilience against cyber threats. The drawback and the pause, once again, the consideration is that implementing the new OMB guidance and adopting rule as a code will require significant effort, potentially culture shifts within the federal agencies. But that is true in every change in every organization, especially larger organizations with more complex structure. Change is always difficult. The other and last key factor I want to call out by these amendments, and that is number 6, is scope of applications and sanctions amendments. So section 1 through 7 of this order generally do not apply to federal information systems that are national security systems. An executive order related to quantum computing is the only exception. The executive order 13694 was also touched, but that one was a specific touch in that one, is that deals with blocking property for malicious cyber activity. It amends the change to from any person to any foreign person in certain sections regarding scoping of these sanctions. So we're focusing not now so much on internal versus external, or both for that matter, but also focusing on external threat of foreign persons. So that clarification is a good amendment. Now, the positive, explicitly defining the scope of your system, explicitly defining the where you should focus on Executive Order 13694 from a foreign person's point of view. Now you focus your resources on is always positive and provides that clear guidance. Now, the consideration is by excluding systems of national security makes sense from national security, but it means that those critical systems may operate under different guidance and potentially less publicized directive. Some people might see this as a problem. Some people might see this as a positive. It's up to you on your interpretation. That's why I say it's a consideration there. But overall, these comprehensive and proactive set of measures is aimed to fortify our nation's cybersecurity postures. That's all it means, right? So that they are address a range of critical areas, and they are refining the threat landscape, targeting specific persons, targeting specific nations. So it provide us versus that generic guidance, a more specific guidance on how to protect our nation's infrastructures against foreign threat. Hey, what you think actually of all of this? Is it positive? Is it good? Is it bad? Or are you indifferent? Leave a comment below. Let's chat about it.